Welcome. Choice Movie Recaps here. Today we're going to talk about the movie called The Guest. Released in the year 2014. The scene starts with Laura Peterson, mother of a deceased soldier, Caleb. Laura is crying over her son's death when suddenly the doorbell rings. As soon as she opens the door, she sees our protagonist, David. He comes in and he informs her that he is a friend of Caleb, her late son. He seems to get along with Laura. She then asks what he is doing at her home, and he tells her that Caleb told him to check up on her and the whole family from time to time and to tell them that he loves them. She goes in to cry for a while, then comes out. To further prove that he knew Caleb, David points to himself in a picture on the wall where he stands by Caleb. Afterwards, she seems to feel more comfortable with David. Whilst talking, she tells him she also has a daughter who she is sure will like to meet him. Later, Anna, Laura's daughter, comes around and is introduced to David, then leaves for work. After Anna leaves, Laura asks David to spend some days with the family and takes him to Caleb's room. When Laura leaves, we see David's facial expression has changed into a somewhat dangerous, unfriendly look. Poor Petersons, what have you brought into your home? Next, we see Anna's little brother, Luke, being bullied in school by a bunch of kids. Right after, his mum comes for him but doesn't notice he's hurt as he has covered his face. When Luke arrives, he meets David, who inquires of his bruised face. Luke lies that it was a ball that hit him, but David doesn't believe him. Just then we see Laura and Spencer, her husband, arguing in the back about David. Spencer insists Laura should have told him first before allowing a stranger to stay over. We then see Anna together with her boyfriend, Zeke, talking about the death of her brother and how David's arrival reminds her parents of him. Anna then gets up to leave. But it soon gets a little lovey-dovey, but she decides to do a little Cinderella drama and runs off, leaving no shoe behind. When she comes home, she sees Luke and David doing homework together. After sitting there for a short while, she gets up. Probably upset that David is kind of taking Caleb's place. Her dad tries to let her chat some more with David, but she ignores him, saying she is tired. The boys then watch TV and have a little chat over beer. The next day, Luke enters the car and is surprised that it's David who has come to pick him up. David then asks him to point out his bullies. After hesitating a bit, he does. David then follows the bullies to a bar despite Luke's plea not to. In the bar, a reluctant Luke finally joins David. David then orders a fireball for himself and a Coke for Luke. Our friend thinks he is a big boy, and when offered a sip of the fireball, takes it. He immediately realized that he is not. David orders drinks for the bullies, knowing very well it will infuriate them. This will certainly cause trouble, but of course that's why he is there. They confront David by first thanking him for the drink, then proceed to pour the drink on him. Which, by the way, was a big mistake. Within seconds a fight ensues and they start flying around as David flaunts his strength. After the fight, he looks for Luke, whom he finds in the corner, beaten and bleeding from his nose. David tells the bartender to call the police and inform them a couple of minors came to drink, and when he tried to ID them, they threatened to cause trouble and a fight broke out. Obviously this wasn't exactly what happened. A stunned bartender just stares as he puts some money on the table. At least he was nice enough to pay for the damages. When they arrive home, Laura is alarmed when she sees Luke and inquires about what happened. Luke just says he got into a fight with some bullies and goes to hide in his room. David assures Laura that everything is fine and that when the boy is ready he would even teach him a few self-defense moves. Anna says sarcastically that that was just what her brother needed. She then gets up and Laura asks her to invite David to the party she is going to. When she tries to get ready, she asks David to let her enter the washroom and they have a moment where she stares at his abs. After getting a grip of themselves, they separate. They arrive later at the party and she tells David her boyfriend will be at the party. She asks him not to tell her parents that she has a boyfriend and he promises he won't. They get to the door and Kristen, Anna's friend and co-waitress, stands there. Looks like she has a huge crush there. They both enter and he helps Kristen to carry the drinks. Strong guy. Yeah. The party is jamming. Someone seems to be having a little too much fun. Yeah, you go girl. Not too long after, Kristen's ex tries to bully her. Her ex pushes David. I don't even know why they make this mistake. David defends her by smashing his head against the wall. After he defends her, she wants to show him a tour of the house. We all know where that ends up. Rip bed and PG guys. After a while of being at the party, they leave to have some fun, if you know what I am talking about. Later, David tries to socialize with the other guys at the party. He talks to a certain guy called Craig about getting a gun. He gives him his number and they agree to meet later. After a while, Anna comes out fighting with her boyfriend, then asks David if they could leave. And they agreed. On their way going, he tries to get her to put on her seat belt. He asks about why she and Zeke fought. And she said nothing. Interestingly, the next day, suspicious Anna calls the military base to inquire if a David exists and was ever in the military. The receiver at the other end, when looking up David's profile, was directed to KDP and so calls that department. It cuts to show a meeting. Just then Richard's assistant comes in to tell him about the call. And he asks about the caller. He then asks to be booked and put on the next flight. He said no one should know any of their test subjects is still alive. If they are found out, they will be dealt with. Coincidentally, we see David buying some guns. It's as if he can sense what is coming. Craig and his friend both get shocked when he doesn't want to buy one but all the guns. When they asked him to pay up, they didn't know he had other plans. David shoots the gun dealer. Next up is the Craig. He runs around a bit, but in the end still gets shot. Anna receives a call from the military base that informs her that David is dead. And now her suspicion arises even more. And she attempts to tell her mom. Not too long after, her phone rings. She picks it up and it's her boyfriend who's telling her Craig is dead. Just then a cop starts following Zeke and he has to cut the call. She then goes to see Kirsten, who is also saddened by Craig's death. Anna then tells her that David is supposed to be dead. Finding that strange, Kirsten tells her to get a hold of his IDs or snoop around for more info. David and Luke share a bonding time where they carve out pumpkins together. When they head back inside the house, and David hands over a knife that he keeps on himself always to Luke, solidifying their bond further. Anna comes back home, ignores everyone, then grabs David's phone from the table when he is not looking. She takes a picture of his call logs. She quickly runs to his room, places the phone on his bed and hides. He almost catches her, but since he doesn't see her, he takes his phone and leaves. Suddenly Anna's phone rings, and it's Zeke. He called to inform her that he has been arrested. Later Anna comes to inform her family about her friend's death and they're all sympathetic. She also reveals her boyfriend has been arrested for it, though she doesn't think he did it. Spencer, Anna's father, already dislikes him and so says he believes Zeke could have killed someone. She then confronts David about the fact that the military says he is dead. So he is a fake. Who is he? He says it's military intelligence and explains that he was part of the special forces so they wouldn't disclose information on him to civilians. He then shows his dog tags. The parents seem to be okay with this explanation and Anna gets pissed and leaves. The next day Luke is in class and he is about to be bullied again when he punches the bully first. He finally stood up for himself, but his proud moment didn't last long as the bully punched him again. He also took a stick and hit the bully fair and square on his face. The school calls Laura. And the principal threatens to expel Luke for his behavior. I almost forgot though the bully deserved it, it was wrong. At least that's what the school thinks. David then tells him the principal that he will sue the school for allowing bullying and expelling the bullied instead of the bully. He is going to sue them for hate crime and the principal will surely lose his job. As they were leaving, the principal called them back and suggested school detention as a better punishment. And David agrees. His knowledge of the law saves the day. Luke is so grateful to David. He also tells him his sister still doubts him but he doesn't. The next day, as David is doing chores with the Laura policemen come to get him. He gets shot in the leg. And when he tries to run, Laura called out to the police so he stabs her. He then manages to get away. On his way going he bumped into Spencer and killed him as well. He was then on his way to kill Anna at her workplace. Luckily for her she had been picked by the policeman before he got there. Upon seeing he couldn't get her, he shot Kirsten and blew the whole restaurant up. Next he sets up to where Luke was to capture him too. In the car, Anna is informed of what happened to her parents. After crying for a while she enquires of Carver what's wrong with David and why he is doing all that. He states that David was part of some people used for an experiment. When the experiment was done their bodies were burnt so he doesn't know how David escaped. Anna then said next time they shouldn't use psychos for their experiments. Ooh cold. When Anna meets Luke they hug but not for long. As they are hugging the lights go off and David plays in the CD Anna gave to him earlier. Carver tells them to run and tries to kill David all by himself. We all know how that ends. Anna speaks to her brother that David killed their parents and that they have to fight for their lives. Anna, being the good sister, makes her brother hide whilst she goes to face the known danger. David comes out and sees some footsteps and follows it thinking it's Anna. Just then Wonder Woman comes out of hiding and points her gun at David. For an amateur her skills aren't bad. She shoots the David and she thought he died. But when she gets closer she can't find him. It was all an act. David stabs her leg and then proceeds to strangle her. Luke then comes out and stabs him to save the day. In the ambulance, an ambulance technician comes over to check up on them. Just then in the corner a long line of firefighters come out. And it is revealed that one of them is David. The movie ends there. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video kindly like and subscribe. I will love to see your comments as well. See you next time.